Hey there guys, Mr. Pusky here. Hope you're having a good day so far. We're continuing with our chapter 3, which is solving equations, and 3.7 is the section today. The name of the lesson is formulas and functions. Essential question is, what is a formula and how do we manipulate it? What does it mean to solve an equation for y? Okay, so this is kind of a hard lesson, so just stick with me. Make sure you bring your questions to class, and it's challenging, but it's very similar to solving. It's just going to be a little bit more abstract, I would say. Okay, so we have a warm up. It says, what is the perimeter of this object? Go ahead and try to figure that out. See how you do. All right, the perimeter of the object, is that the inside or the outside of the rectangle there? Perimeter is the outside, so we literally just have to add up all around the outside here, right? So we're going to do 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2, which is going to equal 4 plus 4, which is 12, and that's going to be our answer. All right, sounds good. So it says, what do you know about formulas? Can you give any examples of mathematical or scientific formulas? Okay, well, I'm not there to see what you guys have to say, but for example, y equals mx plus b is a formula. A equals pi r squared is a formula. Like from chapter 1, distance equals rate times time is a formula. Or another one from that chapter is I equals PRT is a formula. See if you can write down some other examples and see if you found other ones besides those. And if you did, awesome. Give yourself a pat in the back. And yeah, but a formula, what is the definition of a formula? A formula is an algebraic equation. An algebraic what? Algebraic equation used to relate two or more real-life quantities. Or real-life what? Quantities. Okay? So it says, back to the warm-up. Can you think of a formula for perimeter of a rectangle if length is L and width is W? So this is kind of going back to the last section we actually used this. So if we look at the perimeter here, this is the length, right? The long side, this is the width. So if we go around the outside again, we have length plus width plus length plus width. And that equals P, right? So let's write that down here. We have P equals length plus width plus length plus width. And then if we combine like terms, we have two L's, right? And we also have two W's. So the perimeter formula is going to equal 2L plus 2W. And if you remember that formula, that's great. But if you don't, you could also just just go around the outside and add them up like I did here and just do that. You actually don't need to combine like terms. You could actually solve it without combining like terms. But I feel like combining like terms makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, so there's our formula for perimeter. So that is called the perimeter formula. It's an equation that represents what perimeter equals to of a rectangle. Okay, let's draw this over here. So we have, dang it, length, width, and width. Okay? All right, next page. It says on the next page, we can actually rearrange formulas to solve for different variables. Again, don't panic. Do the same steps you would for solving an equation. Let's build up to what we're talking about here. Okay, so it's the same thing we kind of did with the solving decimal equations, right? So, yeah, let's get into it here. So it says, let's solve for W. All right, so if I have 4 equals 2W, how do I solve for W? Well, W is being multiplied by 2, so how do I undo multiplying by 2? I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So we get 2 equals W, right? Awesome. Hopefully that one wasn't too bad. Now let's do it again here. We have A equals 2 times W. Well, just because we have an A there doesn't mean we need to change how we solve here. We want to get W by itself, so we're still going to divide by 2. The problem is, does A divide by 2 nicely or no? It doesn't. They're not like terms. You can really only divide like terms. So our final answer, and it's okay to leave it like this, just don't panic again. W equals A over 2, and that's the correct answer. Okay, so this chapter is going to get like this, and basically we're just not going to have numbers at the end. We're going to have like a formula. All right, last one here. A equals L times W. We're trying to solve for W again, so it's being multiplied by L. So to undo multiplying by L, we're going to, like we normally would, divide by L. So our final formula for this is going to be A over L equals W. Okay, because A and L are not like terms, we cannot divide them, so it's just going to stay A divided by L. Okay, challenging stuff, but like I try to build it up here from these problems and see how we get a little bit more complicated as we go. Okay, examples. Let's solve the perimeter formula for W. Okay, so I want to solve for W, right? I want to get W by itself. So if I have P equals 2L plus 2W, let's just change this. Let's say if we had 20 equals 2 plus 2W. Okay, we're switching it up a little bit to kind of illustrate this. If I want to solve for W, what would be the first step to solve? I would subtract 2, right? So we're going to do the same thing here. Even though it's not like a nice number we're doing here, we want to get 2W by itself like we would if we were solving an equation. This was like 2 or another number. So the way we're going to do that, we still take care of addition and subtraction first, and then we do multiplication division. We're going to subtract both sides by 2L. Okay, and we can do that. That's a legal thing to do. So now on the left-hand side, can we subtract P and 2L? Are those like terms or no? They are not. So we're literally going to write, we can't do P minus 2L, so we're literally going to keep it as P minus 2L because we can't divide that. We can't, they're not like terms. Equals 2W. Okay. Now what's the last step to solve for W? We need to get W by itself. Well, it's being multiplied by 2, so we need to divide by 2. So our solution is going to be, now W is by itself, these cancel. We get W equals P minus 2L over 2. But also, another trick we need to know with fractions, if we have two things on the top with addition, subtraction, two terms, and we have a common denominator, we can split this up. So this would be an okay answer to put if you wanted to be to stop there, but I like to simplify as far as possible as well. So we're going to split this up. I'm going to rewrite this as P over 2 minus 2L over 2. All right. Same thing. Like remember, when we're adding fractions. If we had 1/2 plus 3/2, you would add the top and keep the bottom the same. That'd be 4 over 2. It's the same thing, but we're going the opposite direction. We're splitting it up instead of combining it. Okay. So can we simplify this at all? P doesn't divide by 2. That's not going to work. So we're going to have to keep P over 2 the same. But what about 2L over 2? Well, we can cancel out the 2's because 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we're going to get P minus 2, P over 2 minus L is going to be our final answer here. So we have that top equation would be fine, but I would say the most correct version, the most simplified version, I'm going to put or this would be a final answer. Kind of crazy to look at, but that's just how we solve these kind of formulas. All right, moving on. Number 5, solve the formula for H. A equals 3R plus 1/2 H. All right, so first things first, is there anything to add or subtract to get 1/2 H by itself? Yes, we got to get that 3R. So how do we get rid of positive 3R? We're going to subtract 3R from both sides. And we get minus 3R equals, these cancel. We get 1/2 H. Okay. Now, how do we undo multiplying by a fraction? We're actually going to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply both sides. What's the reciprocal of 1/2? It's 2 over 1 or just 2. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. Okay? So these are going to cancel. When you multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1 times 2 is 1, and it cancels out. And on the left-hand side, now we're multiplying this. Now, you're not going to just multiply the A by 2. You're multiplying everything on the left side and everything in the equation by 2. So we're going to have to distribute the 2 to the A and 2 to the 3R. So we're going to get for our final answer, 2 times A is 2A. And then 2 times negative 3R is negative 6R. And that equals our final answer, which is H. All right, and a lot of these examples we're going through together are harder than the ones you're going to see probably on the quiz and in the checkpoints coming up here, okay? So hard stuff, but just keep following along. You guys are doing great. All right, solve the formula for Z. We have 4RZ plus 12 equals 5K. Okay, we need to get the 4RZ. We need to get the Z by itself. So what would be the first step to getting Z by itself? I would get the 4RZ by itself by subtracting 12 from both sides, getting rid of that addition subtraction. So now we're going to have 4RZ equals 5K. Can we subtract 12 from 5K? We cannot. Those are not like terms. We're going to leave it as 5K minus 12. Okay. Now we need to get z by itself. Do we have z being multiplied by anything? It's actually being multiplied by 4 and r. So how do I undo multiplying by 4r? I can divide by 4r on both sides. So one of our answers, we go like now if we do this, we're going to get 5k minus 12 over 4r. Now that's an okay answer. Or we can actually simplify this. I see 12 and 4 in the top and bottom. Those can actually be simplified. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into 5k over 4r minus 12 over 4r because that's what we can do with fractions. Okay, just like the opposite. So z equals 5k over 4r minus 12 over 4r. Okay, and then 5k divided by 4r we can't divide those because 5 doesn't go into 4 or whatever. But 12 and 4, what number goes into 12 and 4 nicely? 3, or 4 goes into both of those, right? So we have 5k over 4r minus 12. So we go 12 divided by 4 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we're going to get, our final answer is going to be 3 over r. And these are our two possible answers. But this one's probably the most exact one because we simplified it. But if you stop here, that's okay too. This is hard stuff. All right, let's try some checkpoints now. I want you guys to try 1 and 2 on your own. You guys can go ahead and pause the video. I'll zoom out so you guys can see everything. But try 1 and 2 on your own and see how you do, and we'll go over it in a second. All right, welcome back. Let's do this. So number checkpoint 1, we have 9 equals h over 2 plus x. I want to solve the equation for h is what it's asking for on these two checkpoints. So if I want to solve for h, first of all, we need to get that h over 2 by itself. Is there anything in the way of h over 2 being by itself? We have that plus x. How do we undo adding x? We need to get rid of addition and subtraction first. We need to subtract x from both sides. Right? These are going to cancel. So now we're going to have, does 9 subtract x nicely? Those are not like terms. No. So it's going to be 9 minus x equals h over 2. All right. Now we have h over 2 equals 9 minus x. I need to undo what's happening to the h. Well, it's being divided by 2. How do I undo dividing by 2? I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. I'm going to put parentheses here. When you're doing these kind of problems, put parentheses because you're actually multiplying this entire left-hand side by 2, not just the 9. So these 2's are going to cancel. When you divide and multiply by 2, it goes to 1. Then we got to distribute the 2 to the 9 and 2 to the negative x. So 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times negative x is negative 2x equals h. And h is by itself, so we're solved. No fractions to simplify to, so that's your final answer. Okay, number 2, 5h minus 4 equals m. We still want to get h by itself. What would be the first step to getting that 5h by itself? We're going to undo subtracting 4 by adding 4. Cancel out, so we get 5h equals, does m plus 4, do those combine nicely? Are those like terms? They are not, so we're going to have m plus 4 equals 5h. What's the next step to solve for h? We're going to divide by 5. So h is going to be equal to m plus 4 over 5. In this case, I'd probably leave it like that. You could also simplify it by splitting it up, or h is going to equal, we can split up the top into m over 5 plus 4 over 5. So either of these would be fine, but I only usually split it up when there's nothing that when you can simplify right here. This doesn't divide by anything, this doesn't divide by anything, so there's not really a good point to splitting it up, but I just want you to be aware of both ways to solve this or to write your final answer, okay? So I'd probably stick with this one for this problem. It's just more neat when it's combined like that. All right, now we have a couple more problems to do here. So applying these same principles to the next thing we're doing. It says rewriting an equation so that y is a function of x means to solve, means to what? Solve the equation for y. For what? It means to solve the equation for y. In other words, it means get y by itself. Get y by itself. Okay. So this time we're basically doing what we do with the h up here. We're going to be solving for y, getting y by itself. Okay, solve the equation for y. 4x minus 2y equals 16. We want negative 2y to be by itself. What's the first step to do that? I would probably get rid of that positive 4x by subtracting 4x. We get rid of addition and subtraction first, and then multiplication division later. So we have negative 2y equals, the 16 and 4x, do those combine? Are those like terms? They are not. So we're going to combine this. I'm going to rewrite this. Okay, this is kind of an important thing here, okay? We could write 16 minus 4x, but don't do that. What I'd like you to encourage you to do is to write the x in front, because that's going to help you for future chapters, especially the next chapter. We're going to write it as negative 4x plus 16, okay? Put the x in front when you're solving for y. It's going to help you later on, I promise. All right, what's the last step to solve for y? We have negative 2 times y so equals to negative 4x plus 16. We need to divide by negative 2. And we're going to get y is equal to negative 4x divided by negative 2 is 2x. And 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8. Okay, another thing I've noticed when we're doing our homework and stuff here, some people kind of stop when they get to a weird answer at the end or whatever. But even dividing these and dividing these, just keep going. What I can't stress enough is just keep going. Even if you feel like it's wrong or it's the wrong answer, just keep going, because I can't give you credit if you just stop in the middle of a problem, okay? Even if it's a funky answer, it's possible it is a funky answer, okay? So just keep going and do not stop, and just get a final answer, because I can give you credit for each step, for here, and for the final answer. But if you stop, I can't give you credit for anything. Okay, we have some checkpoints. Go ahead and see if you can solve the checkpoints. Similar to the last problem, get y by itself. Go ahead and give it a try. And you're going to get a weird answer for number 4, too, by the way. Weird answer for number 4. All right, welcome back. Number 3, negative 10x equals negative 5y plus 20. I want to get that negative 5y by itself to get y by itself. So what will be the first step here? We're going to subtract 20. And we're going to get negative 10x minus 20 equals negative 5y. Remember, put the x in front. Last step to solve for y to get y by itself, we have negative 5 times y, so we're going to divide by negative 5. And our final answer I'm going to write on the left, put y on the left, and negative 10x divided by negative 5 is 2x, and negative 20 divided by negative 5 is plus 4. If you got that right, good job, way to go. It's a very important topic, and you guys got it right. You're doing a great job. All right, number 4, 33x plus 2 equals 4y minus 14. First things first, we want to get the y by itself, so we need to get that 4y by itself. What will be the first step to get 4y by itself? So instead of subtracting 14, we're going to add 14 to both sides. Now, this is important too. Should I add 14 to the 33x or to the 2? Which one do you think are like terms here? I would add it to the 2. People are trying to add like x's and non-x's and stuff, and that's not allowed. You're going to add 14 to 2 because these are like terms. They're both constants. So our new answer is going to be 33x. 2 plus 14 is 16 equals 4y. Last step to solve for y, to get rid of that multiplying by 4, we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So I'm going to rewrite it with the left-hand side with y. Okay, so y equals, so 33 divided by 4, it does not. And 33, it's not really a prime number, but it's close to being a prime number. I think the only thing that multiplies to 33 is 11 and 3. So those don't divide by 4. So our final answer is going to be 33 over 4 x. Put the x on the side like this when you're doing this, because that's going to help with slope stuff later. Okay? And what's 16 divided by 4 going to be? It's going to be 4. So 33 over 4x plus 4. All right, that is it. That's all I have for this lesson. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will talk soon.